Hello there, everyone, and welcome to a dog-centric episode of the Supercast for this podcast. Why not, right? I mean, hey, it's International Dog Day today, isn't it? No, it's not. It's Yoshi's Island's birthday, right? No, it's not. It's this dog's birthday? We don't know. We have no... I don't know! Don't leave me like that. We got you from someone else. Listen, hey, don't be rude, jerk.
Happy birthday, Truman.
He's not happy. I woke him up to do a bit. But hey, we're back. There's a reason that we are talking about dogs, and there's a reason that Yoshi's Island background here. I'm sure you can figure it out if you know anything about Yoshi's Island, or if you know what that is. Getting used to these different camera positionings will take some time for me. But hey, it's another Smashtopia. We're going to be our first one of the season, and we're doing a character this time around that initially when John was like, I want to do this character, I was just like, why? How? I don't... Okay. And I was just kind of like, I'll look into it, I'll see if it can be done. Otherwise, it's just going to have to be a direct-to-DVD release from you, just put on the wiki, no changes or whatever. Or no fanfare. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, alright, cool. Whatever. I'll look at the wiki. I read up on Poochy. I was like, okay, I see a few things here. I looked at the specific games that he was in. It's like, okay, oh, damn it. I have a moveset for Poochy already. Fuck, I guess we're doing Poochy! Here we are. And of course, I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lister, and that's Jonathan, otherwise known as John. No.
Or Captain X.
It's a really easy... With J Noodles, as he was once referred to. Samurai John. Yep. There was a time he was Samurai John. Not really. But I almost said Samurai Jack, and I was like, that doesn't really work too well. But, yeah, we're back here. We're doing our first... Right, yes, you did. The last special we did was, of course, with our Season 2 finale, where we did our own split characters, focusing on fourth parties, which will probably be the only time we do four-party characters, I would guess. It was kind of just like a fun little gag for us. We had Aang from Avatar, and then we had Steven Universe from... Steven Universe.
Delphos Pinball... Yeah, Steven
Universe. It's always funny when people are just like, oh, hey, this Steven Universe kid, what's he from? Steven Universe? No, what's he from, though? That's the downside to naming a show after your main character.
Yep. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yep, him too.
So, like we mentioned in the last episode, we are trying a few different things here this season. For one, better visual presentation of things. We'll have some graphics that will come up later. Our cameras are all readjusted. Last episode, we got to see our 3-person format. This time it's our 2-person, only 2 cameras, so it takes a little bit more space. And we also, for On Topics, revealed that, hey, at the start of each of those episodes, we're going to do a catching up with whoever happens to be on that episode, just to see, like, hey, how's it been? What you doing? What you playing? For Smashtopias, we're not doing that. We're doing something a little bit different. We talked about before how we had the Smashtopia wiki that existed for years before we started this podcast, and it's where we would post some ideas for characters, stages, and whatever. The only unfortunate thing about this is that it means that those characters that we've already done can't really be shown here on the podcast, because like we did it already. Like, we're not going to do a redo of Ganondorf because we did it already. Mm-hmm. Bit of a shame that we kind of already did that one, because that would have been a great episode.
Oh, holy cow.
Oh well. So what we're going to do now with each Smashtopia is both myself and Jonno are going to look at some entries that are already on the wiki and do a bit of a showcase. These could be things that we've done just recently, or could be things we did years ago. It really just feels like what everyone would talk about at the moment, and it doesn't necessarily have to conform to whatever the episode-specific topic is. Like, we're not going to focus on dogs or Yoshi-related characters for these showcases today. Mm-hmm. I've picked out a few. Jonno's picked out a few. I figure we'll go ahead and start with me doing one. All 3 minor things are things that I've done recently. I've got a character, a stage, and an assist trophy to show for you all. So, first off, I want to go with Spyro the Dragon. This is the character I love, close to my childhood. me and Trilix played these games when we were kids. We played the Reignited trilogy. We recorded our first playthrough of it, going for the 100% run, or I guess technically like 120%, whatever the hell the number is. Different numbers for each of the three games. It's kind of weird. I wanted to do Spyro for an episode, but there really wasn't a point to, because what you see is what you get with him. He doesn't have very many options for his moves, and it's like pretty much any moveset anybody does, it's the exact same. So you got your standard special, fire breath that he can just breathe out, small amount of knockback, middling damage, but it's short range, so it's more of a get up in their face and just hurt him with some fire. Side special, charge attack, he just runs forward. You can turn him around, quickly turns back and forth. Great for Race to the Finish if they ever brought back that move. I'd say faster than Wario's Bike. Well, Wario's Bike kind of has some varying speeds. It's kind of weird sometimes. Decent speed at the very least.
Yeah.
Up special,
absolutely.
Yeah. Up special I have for me is just loop-de-loop. Kind of took me some thinking on this one. Basically, he'll just go like, kind of like a little bit similar to Meta Knight's, kind of like how his shuttle loop used to work, or could work rather. Except it's not just like a straight line. It's like he literally just goes in a circle, and he can just start going sideways for a little bit of a glide action, since gliding was mostly taken out of Smash. Down special, again, obvious. Horn dive. It's just like other characters have like a straight down move. If he's already on the ground, he jumps up with it, and then he goes down. It's King Dedede, Super Dedede jump as a down special. Final Smash, we got Super Flame. He just breathes out a massive damn fireball. No cutscene, it's just sent straight out, kind of like Mario Finale, except it's just a straight fireball that goes forwards. Pretty simple enough stuff there. Then for his extra skill, I had Ice Breath, which is pretty much the same thing as the Scenic Special Fire Breath, but his Ice Elemental has the same range, same knockbacks. It can be reflected just like fire is. The only real difference is that it does a little bit less damage, and there's a rare chance that it can freeze opponents who get hit by it if they've taken enough damage. But that's pretty much what I had for Spyro.
Yeah.
He has Sparks present with him, but Sparks doesn't do anything. He just like hangs out and flies around. It's like a fun little thing.
Yeah. Speaking of, like a direct-to-DVD character, I think that Spyro is a great example of that, because he's a high-profile character, but very
he wouldn't make interesting podcast material.
Right, but he's still a good read, and that's above Crash for me as far as personal wants from Activision go.
Absolutely. Like, Crash Bandicoot is great. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. But Spyro was always my guy. My cousin preferred Crash, but I was always for Spyro.
Yeah. I liked Spyro when I was young as well, over Crash, because it was freaking easier, but it was just a fun world, and seeing Spyro on Smashtopia Wiki just feels right. Besides, he becomes Crash Bandicoot for his 10th costume.
Well, he doesn't become Crash, but for his 10th costume, I do have the his scales become orange, like his horns, wings, and tail have brown tips for him. It's very much a Crash alt, but it's obviously not Crash himself.
That's a fake Crash.
But considering that the Crash moves that I have on the wiki, because that also exists, does have a straight up fake Crash alt. I didn't do 5 costumes for Crash, 5 for Coco, like some people suggest. I did 9 Crash and then 1 fake Crash, because fuck yeah.
Very nice.
But that's really all I had to say about Spyro. I mean, it's something I wanted to do, and I actually had trouble figuring out how I wanted to do it at some point, because it's just like, I didn't want to do elemental breath rotation on the extra skill, because that's just boring to me.
Yeah.
And also, how do I make fire breath and lightning without just making lightning be the best thing? Spyro games themselves have that same problem. They're like, hey, you have fire breath, you can get lightning breath later on, and then you'll never use fire again. Like, nah, fuck it. I'll just do fire and ice, because those are the two.
Right.
And also, fire and ice are the only two you actually have in the main 3 Spyro games. Lightning and anything else came later. So.
Yeah, what a guy. What a guy. One more thing I could say on Spyro is that he is one of those characters that, for as long as I've known you, is so ubiquitously you. Spyro, Red 13, Gino. So he's up there amongst that kind of echelon.
I need to make a Red 13
So
trophy now.
yep. Oh, Sly Cooper. So,
I Sly Cooper's also on the wiki. That was one of
yep.
the early
Sly
ones I did.
Fox.
Spy Fox. I I want to. Hasn't happened yet, but
Hmm.
he's on my not so short list.
I
You
know
know
how
how
that
I
feels.
get.
By the time I get through my list, I'll be dead.
Yeah,
In
same.
2094. Yeah, but you'll have like put like 1,000 up there, and I would have put like 50. All the same, all the same. Maybe Spy Fox is how Star Fox can be saved. Just put him in there.
Don't think. Anywho, what do you have for your first showcase?
I was gonna save this for last, but after you mentioned fire and lightning,
Hmm.
um, I'm gonna have to say, after our fourth party episode,
Yep.
where you did Aang and I did Steven Universe, um, Aang was just such a naturally good idea. You have the four elements, you have four special moves. Bada bing, bada boom. But that world of Avatar is so special. It's something that you and I are both heavily invested in.
True.
So I couldn't help but highlight one of my favorite characters, Iroh from The Last Airbender. So we got him on the site on the wiki not too long ago. And of course he's a firebender, but he is interesting because Iroh is such a prolific firebender that he's come up with a few techniques of its own. So that's where I figured it could be interesting. And he's such a grounded character. Um, Growing up, if you were young enough, you may have learned legitimate life lessons from this character. Like he's a good guy. He's a good guy involved with some bad people. Um, so it's a really strong. There's so many strong characters in
Yeah.
Avatar, and
It's
among them
easily one of the
he's
best
yeah,
shows in existence.
very yeah, extremely well written and everything. You could tell like that from the very start they knew what they were doing and they
Yeah.
had their battle plan for the next 4 or 5 years of it. So it wasn't really until Korra that things slipped a little.
Yeah. But I think there was some
But even
production
yeah,
interference with Korra.
yeah, thanks Nickelodeon. It's still good. It's just that Last Airbender is like
10 out of 10.
so exactly. Um okay, so all the same. So Iroh, I mean, I'll just go through his specials real quick like you did. He uses his fire breath, which is a technique that he is, I don't know if he invented it, but he's very well known for it, where he
That's the reason he's the Dragon
sips
of the West.
tea. Exactly. Yep. Um, and you think that he's going to slip another, clever or helpful anecdote, and then he uses his tea to spit fire at you instead. So that's exactly what he does here. He takes a quick sip of tea and spits out fire. And similarly to in a sense to Bowser's, except you can kind of move his head in like a 360-degree pattern, so you can spit it anywhere. Um, Speaking of lightning, he's very adept at commanding lightning and lightning bending. He's one of the first firebenders to really grasp the technique that otherwise is very dangerous. Um, then you get into Korra, and there's so many firebenders who just know how to
Yeah.
naturally do it, and it's like Mako's doing it in like the first fucking episode. It's like whoa, okay, but Iroh started that path for these people. So again, he sets a foot forward and he holds his two fingers out and shoots lightning from it, and you can it has some slight homing abilities. I'm kind of calling to actual lightning that you can, and it just is sent out. It deals with massive damage, can break shields, etc., etc., etc. Basically akin to like a warlock punch, but a side special that's ranged and has a lot of build up lag. But if it lands, you're done.
You're done.
Exactly. Um, then there's flame pyres, which we got some of in the season finale for Myro, the series finale rather, where he is ejecting flames from his hands so ferociously that he's flying into the air with both of his fists, you know. So
Yeah.
and you can kind of move back and forth with that. Um, then
Kind of,
there
kind of like
is
a like Pikachu's up special.
yeah, kind of like that, but more methodic, so it's not as hard to control. Um, almost more like using like a hover, like Flex hover in Super Mario Sunshine, that sort of thing.
Greninja's up special is a more controllable version of Pikachu's.
Sure, sure. Um, there's also a fire missile, um, where he launches just this great beam of flames from his fingertips downwards. Can deal a lot of damage. And then there's his final smash is named after him. It's the Dragon of the West. So I'm like reading over it.
Naturally.
Basically, it's a he takes a deep breath and flames swirl around him, transforming into this great wall. So again, it's kind of a callback to his role in the series finale of The Last Airbender. And they're pushed forward from that center point of his body. Um, and you can see Sozan's comet shining in the background while it's engaged. So it's not a CGI thing, which it could have been, but I kind of like to avoid that where I can.
Yeah.
Just kind of because Ultimate has so many. For his normally I have issue with extra skills, like coming up with a good one to
It can be
incorporate
tough
whatever
sometimes.
incorporate. Yeah, yeah. But for him, it was easy because it's redirection. It's a whole story arc about redirection in The Last Airbender. Um, so he stomps a foot down, and just like he taught some people, he lifts his left arm high and his right one at the height of his stomach to make sure that what he's redirecting doesn't go through him, through his gut. Very important. So this is similar to like Rosalina's standard, where someone throws a projectile at him, he's able to supersede that trajectory and capture that item in midair. And then he can either hold on to it or he can release that button and just throw the projectile in another direction, which is useful for like plasma or lightning or fire-based attacks.
Yeah. I mean, you even have mentioned that physical-based projectiles it works on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically just don't throw things at him.
Don't throw things at
Don't.
Iroh. He doesn't like it.
Exactly. Um, and that's kind of the basic gist of it. And what more? Yeah, he doesn't like it, but you won't like it more. um, that's the basic gist of it. Kind of a, I imagine him kind of like a slightly slower moving methodical character. Lots of power that you wouldn't assume he would necessarily have at first glance. I like a lot of his alternate costumes too that call back to the series. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun making it, and I think there's room. I mean, Avatar is something we can explore further on the wiki too. I think
Yeah.
that
We easily could if we
there's
wanted
a
to.
few. Yeah, exactly. Like there may be room for maybe Zuko or Azula even for firebenders alone. Let alone more. We could probably have a waterbender, an earthbender, an airbender as well. Um, And
easily.
probably at least like one non-bender too, like a soccer or
Sokka,
something.
yeah,
We
you'd
did,
have to go Sokka if
yeah,
you were going with that. Why don't we just need an
hmm
Avatar fighting game? Seriously,
yeah, yeah,
or at the
yeah.
very least a Muso game. Come on,
hmm
God, there's so much
Both.
there. Ah,
Let both have it. Yeah, we're getting a tabletop RPG, which is
yeah,
kind of cool. But we can go further with games that don't suck. Video games that don't suck, rather. Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, after Iroh, figure I'll do my assist trophy next. Kind of leave my stage to be like my own grand finale for this one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this this is from a game that they remade, and when they remade it and they showed out the art style, it's like, ew, I hate it. I hate the art style. I still hate it. I think they could have done something better with it. I understand a lot of people liked it, but personally, wasn't my thing. But recently, I've been watching a Let's Play of it, done by Miss Sayanella, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm at least getting to experience this game. And there was a
Mm-hmm.
particular character in it, and I was like, I have an assist trophy idea for you. I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna make it. And that's the little devil from Link's Awakening. This guy, he's really a little shit. He in some games he's called the Mad Batter, but it's the same creature. I just went with Little Devil because personally I think that name is better. And that's what he's called in the Link's Awakening remake. When you give him some magic powder, he wakes up and he's like, "Blah, I'ma curse you." Kind of like the black boxes or whatever they're fucking called in Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. It's like you did
Oh
something to
yeah.
me, I curse you, and they just give you an ability. Little Devil's pretty similar, because in Link's Awakening, he'll either double the amount of magic power that Link can carry, triple the amount of bombs he can carry, or triple the amount of arrows he can carry. And it's like, okay, I can make something work with this. As an assist trophy, he doesn't like mess anything with your inventory or change how many items you can hold. That'd be broken as fuck. Imagine holding two beam swords. Jesus. Two hammers, two orc clubs. Jesus.
Yep.
Okay, this is nonsense. But no. Instead, what's going to happen is that Little Devil will cackle upon his arrival, and he'll fly around the sun point on the stage. I'll just like spread his wings to full length, and then just a series of bombs are just going to fall straight
Mhm.
down from him. Because like he can make you hold more bombs, so maybe he can just like magically make bombs appear. Why not? And they're just
Mhm.
gonna rain down below him for 3 to 4 seconds. Each bomb is its own damage, its own knockback, and then once they're done falling, he'll fly to another point of the stage, rinse and repeat, drop some bombs, and he does this, I believe, yeah, 3 times before he disappears in completely. But you can also attack him and make him leave early if you so choose.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. You've been watching LPs of a few games lately that I think you probably wouldn't otherwise be
No.
interested in,
I mean, I
like
watched
Link's
Bayonetta
Awakening.
1 and 2 recently as well.
Yeah, yeah. That
Super
was
Mario
looking at
Galaxy,
stuff.
which I had never finished. I've been watching an LP of that. I mainly watch things that are done by people associated with the Runaway guys, pretty much. Like,
Hmm
uh, I don't. The guy who did Bayonetta was not Runaway guys. I don't even remember who that was. Just I was just like, I need to watch some Bayonetta. I just found somebody. But
Yeah,
Steven and Mal of Steven Plays, they do some good content. They'll play a solo player game, but they trade the controller back and forth, and it's some good stuff.
very nice. Very nice. Um, yeah, I like it. It's nice and simple as most assist trophies are, except for Kirby Fighters. And
Oh, that one.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe that could be its own showcase.
yeah, good. Yeah, just a single showcase. That'd be a 30-minute conversation.
Yup.
Um, Given Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I mean that would be um so yeah, I like it. I like it.
All right.
And I've liked Link's Awakening for a while, so it's cool to see some representation there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's me. That's right. So yeah, I'm wondering how to do this because my next one is also my last one in a sense.
Quick and dirty.
But also not. Quick and dirty. Okay, it's Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, a game that I have ranted and raved about on this podcast multiple times, I'm sure, as well as to you personally and just in general. Fantastic open world adventure title. Basically a better Assassin's Creed in Japan. So it's neat. Jinsakai is a samurai. He's also kind of sort of a ninja who operates under the guise of the Ghost of Tsushima, hence the name. So he is split into two separate movesets on the Smashtopia wiki that both kind of overview the different play styles of his samurai stances and samurai techniques and what he has access to from his more ghost centric items and moveset in Ghost of Tsushima. So the extra skill between both of this, because on the wiki it's between there's Jinsakai Ghost and there's Jinsakai Samurai, and they're both two separate things on the entries. Jin, so the extra skill is it's two pronged, which
He has two
is
extra skills,
interesting.
really.
Yeah, so he pressing the right trigger button and a special button at once. We'll see him swap forms between Samurai and Ghost. It's like a Pyramithra thing where it's super fast. Just a change of armor and a puff of spark. Meanwhile, the left shoulder button and special button pressed at the same time has him perform a stance change, which if you've lived between the last 2 to 5 years, you know I was obsessing about for a character religiously and relentlessly. I was wondering if it could be Ryu Hayabusa, which it could. I was wondering if it could be a Strider Hiryu, which it could.
Any ninja or samurai esque character, you were just like,
Takamaru,
maybe they could stance change.
Ninja Jajamaru-kan.
Lindis, you even considered it for him. Like, oh my god.
Lin, yep. Eric prolifically had so many different things for Lin, though, on our Smashtopia episode.
He did. Bringing in some Hector and Eliwood.
Yep. And Urshifu as well, when he came around for the first time. I was kind of wondering with them. But, that works a little differently for the Pokemon. And plus, it's been upstaged, I think, by Calyrex and now by everything else new coming out. So,
Calyrex is dumb.
Yeah. It is quite interesting. In not in negative ways. But this will see him change between his stone stances, water, wind, and moon stances. All not necessarily totally historically accurate, but a couple of them are. Other ones he's like, whoa. But pretty cool. He basically changes his stance, and depending on which one you are working with, the moves may work against different types of characters, like weight types and so on and so forth, to a better degree. Without going into that quick and dirty, right? Thank God I don't have to talk about that too much. But it was cool. Then so like his ghost form, he's mostly focusing with his special moves on the acts of stealth. So like his standard special is assassinate. So when you're behind an opponent and they don't notice you, you can come up behind them with a shank basically and just stab them in the neck. He does the same here. And then they fall to the ground, similarly to like Ryu's down special and how he, that sort of thing. And it's more effective from behind for that reason. Its starting animation is also a grab, which means that he can bypass shields with this move.
Oh.
Which, yep.
I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Yep. And then he can throw a few kunai with his side special. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. Although these ones do come out in kind of a different way. He throws them out so quickly, and multiple ones at once, like 3 to 4, and they all hone in towards different opponents. Other than that, pretty typical. His up special is kind of cool, where he throws a smoke bomb and leaps upwards. So similar to Sheik, maybe but you can press the special attack button immediately out of the bomb, and he'll slice downwards with this katana. Then the down special is a dart gun, which like in Assassin's Creed, there's poison darts and hallucination darts. So poison darts, while they poison opponents, hallucination darts you have to work a little bit differently as far as Smash is concerned, because you can't just have an opponent go crazy and then die after attacking a few other
Makes
people.
sense.
So this one scrambles their controls. One of my favorite things to do in a game like Smash Brothers, and have it affect me, like the Skull Kid Assist Trophy. Just love it. So
Yeah, fun.
yeah.
Palkia
So
also always
that's what
throws me
happened.
fucking off.
Yeah, yeah, same here. But yeah, it's a control scramble, and they may even slip, just like in it's like a throwback to Brawl. The final smash is Ghost of Tsushima. Um, so he has a ghost stance, and in the ghost stance you enter kind of this Kurosawa black and white samurai film style cinematic cinematic style attack where you can just like hit multiple opponents and automatically kill them, make them run away in fear, whatever. So yeah, this is similar to that. So the screen becomes black and white with some particles and lights glowing red. And Jin can dish out 3 succinct, brutal swipes of his blade.
Hmm.
And he does upwards diagonal, downwards diagonal, and straight ahead. And there's a little bit of a variance. So depending on how hard and what he ends with, opponents could fall straight to the ground or be sent flying. But either which way, it deals a lot of damage, and whoever's guarded like more than 100% can be auto KO'd. So, and once the final blow is dealt, Jin will clean his katana against his wrist.
All right.
Yeah, and that's that. I'll save the samurai portion for after your next one, I guess, if that works.
I'm actually gonna. We actually, I think we're gonna have to push them both off. You might want to go through that
Okay.
quickly, because I
Mm-hmm.
think we're gonna have to see the stage for the next time we do a Smashed Up, because we're kind of at the end of the
Yeah.
time I was hoping for this segment.
Oh,
So
nice.
just
We're
might
already
as well
there.
go through that one quickly, so that we
Mm-hmm.
don't, because you don't want to do
Right.
half of it
Right.
now and half of another time.
Sure. The extra skills are the same. The final smash is the same for Jin Samurai form. His other special moves are just different types of sword-based attacks that he learns through the way of the samurai in the game. Um, so standard special is Dance of Wrath, where he's doing like this really swift, hefty slash with his katana, um, and that's kind of that. Oh, and you could follow it up with a couple of other ones, and shift momentum, so you can like go forward, then back and forward, whatever way you want. Um, Decent knockback, kind of a cool different take on Dolphins. Not Dolphin Slash, but more of side special kind of. His side special is
Dancing
Heavenly
Blade.
Strike. Yeah, Dancing Blade. So his side special is Heavenly Strike, where he holds onto the hilt of his katana for a second, and then he just dashes forward with this quick, impactful movement of his blade with a gust of wind behind him. So, like another Fire Emblem character, like Ike on his quick draw. Um, Heavenly Strike can't be charged though. It's just like a light build up,
Okay.
and then you can cancel out of it and chain it into another Heavenly Strike, maybe in the other direction or moving forward again. So there's no super armor, you can't charge it, but it's more momentum based. It's a swift move.
Right.
Um, right. Rising Swallow for his up special, where he holds his katana in both hands and kind of propels upwards. So he's holding his blade up in a curved arc. And he's just jumping in the air and slicing upwards. Decent. Oh, and you can press the input again, and he'll like spin in the air. So that's between his water stance and moon stance, two separate. moves that you can engage in within this one action. Down special is Way of the Flame. Pretty interesting move where he lights his katana aflame really quickly, and that can increase the damage dealt by the katana for a pretty decent amount of time, like upwards of 18 to 20 seconds, but it can only be used once per stock, which keeps it from being overrun.
Yeah.
And it can be put out by water or wind too.
Okay.
And that's Dallas.
All right.
That's Tsushima.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to hold off on my stage until the next time we do Smash Up because the time I would want to use to talk about it is more time than we have that I want to use it for this segment. So I think at this point we're going to, without a nice little showcase, feel free to check out the full versions of those things out on the wiki when you have a chance to. We put a lot of things on there. We get excited about them. Not the vast majority of content on there is stuff that we don't get out of the podcast. So this is really a good opportunity for us to be able to show, hey, here's some other cool shit that we've done over the last several years. Because this wiki started in 2017, I think 2018 is when I started working on this wiki. Or maybe it was 2017 actually. I know it was before Ultimate was even announced. So that long ago. But with that, I think we can go ahead and get into our main thing for today, and that is our latest Smashtopia character, Poochy, from the Yoshi's Island games, and Yoshi's Story, and Super Mario Odyssey, technically, kind of, loosely.
There's pictures.
yeah, very loose. Like I mentioned earlier, like when you brought this idea to me, it's like you wanted to do Poochy for an episode. It's like, don't know how, but I'll look into it. This is not a character that I had on my radar at all. I was like, oh, if we do a Yoshi character, it'll be Kamek, or it'll be the Baby Mario Bros. Nope, we're doing Poochy. Yeah, oh, absolutely in the future. I think there's a very strong chance that we'll do Kamek at some point in the future. When? Who the hell knows? Not this season, I'll tell you that. Flying what?
Flying Sniffet.
Oh, I heard Flying Sid. I was like, what the fuck is a Flying Sid? Is there a boss in one of the lesser known Yoshi games called Flying Sid that I don't know about? Because there's some weird bosses in the Yoshi games.
We'll do Bert the Bashful.
I mean,
or
Bert the Bashful.
Yeah.
God, fuck Tap Tap. Fuck Tap Tap. Jesus. I remember I made a boss battle for Prince Froggy once on Mercurius.
Oh my.
It was pretty much just copy and pasted from the Yoshi's Island game, so it really wasn't anything special. But I think we can make Poochy special here today. It took me time to really craft what I wanted for him, but just by going over the wiki, I was like, okay, you know what? I have enough ideas here that I can put something together, and I feel pretty okay with what it is. There's a couple moves where I'm just like, meh, I kind of got lazy with some of it, and honestly, I think he's fairly generic-ish for my rendition, but I also think it works. Not every character's gonna have these like big things about them, and not all should.
And I mean, you just look back to Smash 64, Melee, a little bit of Brawl, and but, there was a time before characters were too much.
Yeah, they really were. But let's go ahead and start out things with the entrance animation. For me personally, for mine, I just have it. I like to keep entrance animations generally pretty simple. I just have Poochy's already on the stage. He's sleeping. He wakes up from his nap, takes a big old stretch like dogs do, where they kind of like get on all fours and they stretch out their back however they do it. I don't really know how to describe it, and I don't know why I have my hand out.
Downward dog.
You know what I mean? Yeah. The classic dog stretch. And he just does that, and he gets up on all fours, ready for the fight.
Yeah, that works. And my entrance animation is pretty similar. Two really quick things. Number one, that was so interesting talking about Smashtopia entries that we've already done at the top that I almost forgot we were doing Poochy. And then you mentioned them again. I was like, oh yeah!
Wow. Yeah, that's where I was
Like,
just
"Hey,
like, we got to get this in a condensed
like,
amount of time so we can get to the main deal.
Jin Sakai is a great guy. And so number two, yeah, with approaching Poochie, there's a little bit where you have to um, be out there with
Yeah,
it
a
because
little bit.
it's a character that just kind of runs and jumps and finds things. On the other hand,
Carries you over
Poochie's a
spikes because apparently he's immune to
exactly being
spikes.
stupid. Somehow, yeah, most dogs are. Let's give it a
Hey
go.
crewman, can I ride on you and then you carry me over spike? Oh, he's giving me a look. He says no.
Well, how do you think my dog ended up in a cone like I showed earlier?
Oof.
So yeah, we tried. There was a treasure on the other side of the mountain, but there were spikes. It was a bridge of spikes. So it was very unfortunate.
I
Um,
could need a foreman.
$669 later, in fact. All the same. Yes, but he's also so Poochie's a dog, and
Yes.
there's a lot that you can do from dog-like creatures. Just kind of naturally. So, my interest is pretty similar to yours, but just the idea of Poochie resting. But I tend to go a little over the top, and then you have to rein me in. So, Poochie is resting in a doghouse at first, and notices a fight about to go down. So when he does that, he's happily barking and wagging his tail and runs out onto stage in his battle stance.
Have we
That's
ever
that.
seen Poochie in a doghouse?
I don't know.
I don't think we have. At least not in any game I've
Interesting.
played.
Poochie Doghouse. Oh, yes. It's called the Poochie Hut officially. It's from Poochie
Oh,
and
it's
Yogi's
from.
Woolly World.
Okay. I did not play very much of Woolly World.
Yep.
Oh no no no!
Let
It's in
alone the
Poochie.
3DS
It's in
port.
yeah. It's a 3DS port. That's why I don't know about it. I didn't pl- Why would I play the 3DS port when I had a fucking Wii U?
You had a Wii U?
We both did, and we played Smash
Oh
4.
yeah. Except I sold mine to
How did I
Trevor.
play Splatoon? You know, the best
That's
game
true.
on the Wii U.
How did I play Devil's Third? Oh.
Every Breath of the Wild fan is glaring at me right now, and I stand by what I said.
Okay, so he's getting out of the Poochie hut, and there you go. Um, of the two, I mean, yours is simpler, and maybe simpler is the way to go here, honestly.
Generally speaking, interest animations they are a couple seconds.
Hmm.
A lot of times we get caught up on trying to add so much into a lot of animations, but interest animations, like above all else, gotta be fast.
Hmm.
If they're 5 seconds, they're too long.
Yeah, yeah. You can condense it. He could be in the doghouse, wake up, stretch. There you go.
How do they leave the doghouse?
It just disappears. I
Oh,
don't know. Yeah. But I'm not really gonna push that. I think that simple is fine here, and yours even has the trademark stretch. So
I do have an idea.
yeah.
One of my victory puzzles doesn't mention a doghouse, but I do think that a doghouse could be seen in it potentially.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. The Poochie Hut.
Well, technically, yes, yes.
Oh man,
So
what a
Kirby hat then. I think it's pretty easy as always. It's like that little skin cap that he does of characters like Pikachu. It's just the top of Poochie's
hmm.
head on Kirby's head.
Yeah.
Done
I
deal.
had Kirby gets a collar and spots. I mean, that would actually be cool. I was joking, but now I'm wondering.
checking something about Poochy. Oh no, I forgot. I had the graphics right here in front of me. Ha ha. Okay, okay. I don't hate this idea. I don't hate this idea that Kirby has Poochie's collar like on his as a headband. I actually do not hate this idea at all. The spots, maybe like the one spot that covers one of his eyes, like that one big
Hmm.
old brown spot, but not the rest of them. I actually like this idea a lot. I think this because I don't like the skin caps. They always look weird to me.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
we have an opportunity to drop the skin cap and do this, I'm down. That's actually really cool. Congratulations. You've done it. You've actually done a stupid idea for once and it worked. That's your
Season
one.
three,
That's your
baby.
one for all of season 3. You've used it. You're done. Jesus Christ.
That worked out well. Let's do it.
All right. Let's move on to something that probably won't work out as well. Taunts.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Lord, help us all.
So my
But
first taunt.
yeah.
Poochy, he's gonna lie down on the ground, right? You know, like a dog
Mhm.
does, and he's gonna roll over and then get back up on his feet. He just rolls over, which classic dog rollover trick, while also simultaneously getting a good scratch against the ground because they just can't reach that spot.
Mhm. Neither can I. Like,
I
holy
know
cow! I
it's
just have
rough.
short arms. Rough, rough. So, okay, I see we're taking a similar approach, at least at first, because I also leaned into the actions of the standard canine for
Oh
these
yeah,
things.
absolutely. That's what all mine
Um,
are.
nice. So,
I
starting out
literally
though,
looked up dog tricks.
nice. So, but for mine, um, unfortunately, it's already represented in the entrance. I have Poochie leans downwards, as dogs are wont to do, and happily wags his tail. It's just him stretching and wagging his
I
tail.
mean, that's still valid taunt.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
All right, my second one. So Poochie is now sitting on the stage, and he's just gonna lift his back leg up and just start scratching the back of his head, like a dog does.
Very nice. Like like a dog does. Then they, like a dog does, and then they might get an ear infection by putting dirt in their ears, like my dog just did. Has a cone on his head.
Yeah, that's happened. We didn't have to use a cone. We just put drops in his ear. Does not like getting
Hmm.
drops in his ear.
Yeah, yeah. We have to use a swab. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, Although the cone is for that, and also because he got into like a weed patch and got like 20 thorns all over his foot and had to get it shaved and removed. Not his foot, but the thorns. So fun times. Um, so my next one, Poochie does a quick, happy dance. So just kind of like aloof in a circle, similar to one of Yossi's taunts. And he
Oh, okay, okay.
balances on what? Yeah, and he balances on one paw at the end of that animation before just falling back, plopping back onto his feet.
Okay, so this is Poochie getting up on his back legs and doing a circle dance.
You know what? It wasn't, but I like that better.
I
Let's
mean
do it
that's
because
me
I had
trying
a
to understand what you're saying. Because
yeah,
you also
yeah.
he balances on one paw. And it's like, are we getting humanoid Poochie here? Because my mind is saying no.
It's almost so when Yoshi's dance taunt.
I don't want Poochie to move like a human.
So it's similar to that, but it's on all fours. He's just bumbling back and forth in circles,
Then how does he? Then why
and
is
then
he on one paw?
it's like a Tony Hawk kind of trick shot at the end where he's balancing on one of his front paws.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than the visual I had.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So just da.
so
Yeah.
my third taunt is also kind of one where he just does a little circular motion, but this one he sees his tail, and you know what dogs do when they see their tails? He just starts chasing that thing, running in
Nice,
a circle
nice.
in place, trying to catch his damn tail. That's
Hmm.
the last taunt I have.
So for my first victory pose, Poochie stands on his hind legs, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that little circus animal dog thing. And there's a smiley flower overhead. It's a flower that
What are the flowers
smiles
that
and it's
Yoshi
floating across.
collects?
Yeah, exactly. And he's staring at this glowing smiley flower that's just like a foot above him as he's back on his hind leg standing there. Suddenly he like performs a backflip and he collects the flower. It disappears. And then he just kind of happily wags his tail, kind of waddles back and forth in place. There you go.
Okay, all right. For my second one, I have Poochie. He's starting out in the middle of the screen, and at first he's just like looking kind of maybe distracted, I guess. But then he sees the camera, and he just runs straight for the camera, getting up in its face, and just starts aggressively licking the camera. There's saliva trails all over the camera. There you see these little kind of gross little globs. Yeah, yeah. He's technically breaking the fourth wall. Bleh. But I don't care. It's Poochie. He's a dog. He sees his
Hmm.
master coming home. He's just like, you.
That's how we should start every episode of Super Cast Brothers.
Nope.
Just me licking the screen. Okay, so that's really cool. For my next one, a toady is actually a part of this. Kamek's minion.
Okay.
So a frightened toady like screams and is seen flying towards the screen and like away, kind of at a diagonal, while Poochy is barking at it like ferociously and just chases it off screen.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For my last one,
I was
Oh.
conflicted on. Sorry, I was conflicted on whether it should be a toady or like the second place person, but
oh,
I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I would say either a toady or a goonie would be good.
yeah, one or the other. I just wanted to call back to Yoshi's Island pretty much.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, okay. And your last one?
My last one. From off screen, there's the ball. The ball gets
Mhm.
thrown. This ball looks like a chomp rock, but it's also just like little toy squeaker ball. Just gets thrown, bounce, bounce. Poochie sees ball. Poochie runs for ball. Poochie gets ball in mouth, and he just turns back towards the screen with a large grin on his face, and the ball just like in between his teeth. It's like, I got ball.
Very nice. Very nice.
I went full on dog, full dog with all of these.
That's the way to do it, at least in certain countries. That's pretty cool. The final one for me is Poochie is surrounded by just like a gaggle of like 10 or 12 Poochie pups. And they're like surrounding him from all sides, and he's very happy and panting. They're happy as well. And then when they're all surrounding Poochie, they kind of, it's like an "oh, he's a jolly good fellow" moment where they flip their heads and throw him into the air.
I'm sorry, they flip their heads?
Sorry, I mean like they use their heads to throw him into the air. They're like this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
When I hear flip their heads, I picture their heads. It's like, no. I would
Wouldn't that be
veto that because that's
just
just
the way?
wrong. Now, if these were polter pups, that'd be different. Like, okay, sure. This works. They're ghosts, okay. But not Poochie pups.
They throw him into the air, and then catch him when he lands. And then this animation is just kind of continuous because they're all like cuddling up into him when he lands, and he's licking them and whatever. And the thing about it's a dynamic camera, so it kind of zooms in and follows Poochie as he's flying into the air and back down, like towards the sun. You can see the sun shining.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have the task of narrowing these down.
Oh, buddy, ain't that just the way?
Yep. So
This is always my favorite part.
No, it's not. The main thing I know that I definitely want is I want Poochie chasing his tail. I want that one. The rest, there's some wiggle room on things, but that one is like the one where it's like, this needs to be here. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Wagging his tail. Wagging his tail.
Well,
Or
chasing his
chasing his
tail.
tail, rather.
Yeah.
Chasing his tail. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I agree. That's very standard dog, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, also, I'd like to amend my playing dead one and turn it into a high five with the Poochy pup because I think that's better
Okay.
for consideration. I think an easy out is my downward dog pose because again, I mean it's a valid taunt, but it's the entrance animation, so we don't need to double up.
Makes sense to me.
hmm so then my my two are the Poochie Pup high five and the kind of happy dance with the one paw in the air. With the one paw propelling him.
Right.
So there's those two. And then what were the other two on your end?
My other two were him rolling over,
Mm.
and then the classic dog scratching his ear.
Right. Okay. So I mean they're all strong choices here. It just depends on whether we want to lean more into game or lean more into dog with the taunts.
Mm-hmm.
hmm So yeah, and how much we want to acknowledge Poochie pups because I'm putting them in here
A lot.
because I have them incorporated into the moveset.
And I
So
don't ever. They're nowhere in there. I'm
this will
guessing
be
they're
pretty.
coming in your extra skill. I'm guessing is where they're coming into play.
Yes, and also one other move.
Okay. All right.
Is a
Uh,
symbiotic. Yeah.
my thoughts on the taunts is have the scratch, but then also have the one where he for the high five one he gets up on his hind legs and the Poochie Pup just like jumps and high fives, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking that one, the scratch, and then chasing the tail.
Yeah, that works. I think it's a nice balance because it can go full dog, but having a little more game centric one with the pup, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Sounds good to me. And the dance one, I mean, it's fun, but it's also one of those things where it could be many other characters,
Yeah.
and it's also just more difficult to explain. So,
Yeah.
hmm we'd have to bring like a consultant in. So, okay. Oh, bada bango dango. That's done with. Now victory poses.
Victory poses. Ah.
hmm Difficult
Yeah,
because
especially
again, I
because
mean,
I'm a big fan of all three of mine. If I had, the
hmm
one I like the most of them is the licking the screen one, because that's
oh
just so
yeah,
good. But I
yeah,
also
yeah.
really like the dog one. I think the ball one I kind of feel like is my weaker one, just because that one sounds like it's going to take up a longer amount of time for that animation to play through. But
Sure,
what about you?
sure. This is another instance. It's interesting where the dichotomy is separating between our Poochies because again,
I
it's more
went full
like
dog and you went full game.
exactly. It's like this is a dog or this is a Yoshi's Island character.
A
So there's
large part of where I went
yeah.
fine is like how many dog characters are there where we can actually go and do dog? Like yes, there's
Mm-hmm.
Duck Hunt, but Duck Hunt doesn't really go full dog. It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's more
precisely.
uh honestly it doesn't even go duck. It's just it really goes full game or full light gun. Really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of saving my dog moments for the Truman moveset, I guess. So, no, again, I think that maybe having like a 1-to-3 ratio of like two dog to one game might be fine. Um, I am a little at because again, I quite like what I came up with as well.
Mm.
Between the three, I can't tell you what my weakest one is, but I can tell you which one my strongest one is,
Which one's that?
probably. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I think it might be the one where he's chasing the toady or whatever.
Explain that one to me again.
Sure. A toady is like freaking the hell out because it's being chased by Poochy, so it's chased off screen by Poochy.
Okay, so
as it's
Toady
running.
flies in off screen, looking panicked. Poochy chases off screen, and
Yeah,
maybe like
yeah.
because like a lot of times they like kind of have like their little freeze frame moment. He jumps up towards Toady for the freeze frame.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, it's either that or collecting a smiley flower or the Poochy pup toss.
I like the one where we're chasing a Toady, honestly.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. Do you feel comfortable saying just nix the ball one and put Toady in?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, okay, let's do it. I mean, chasing something is still pretty dog-like, so.
Yeah, out easily.
Mm-hmm.
And the ball
There
one
you go.
also involved something coming in from off screen, so there's that as well.
Yeah, just imagine the Toady as a flying ball, which
I
is
mean,
probably what Poochie's doing, actually.
yeah, yeah. Now all we need is
Yeah.
the Ocarina of Time postman to come running in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. um, either a Toady or a Goonie. I mean, I don't know. We can figure
I
that out.
think Toady works fine.
Yeah, it's just the more iconic character, I think, of the two.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, well, that was shockingly quick.
All right. Well, the animations are locked in, so now it's time for them special moves. And since
Ooh,
Toady
buddy.
was kind of, or not Toady, Poochy was really your idea to begin with, I figure we'll go ahead and have you start this time around.
Okay. Um, Standard special is
Mm-hmm.
called Pup Toss. So here's where the Poochie pups come in, right out the gate. So you press the standard button, and a reticle, basically the one from Yoshi's Island, appears. Going up and down at a forwards diagonal slope until you press it
This
again.
is Yoshi's Up special.
Yeah, yeah. But Poochie can kind of like walk forwards and backwards while balancing a pup
Mm-hmm.
on his back. And so, um, after you've aimed, he tosses, like kicks from his hind legs forward the Poochie pup. And so the pup will become barreling forward towards opponents and basically like dish out some damage. And um, there's a likelihood that they can stay latched onto opponents for a period of time and just like nip at them. Like you've ever had puppy
So it's
teeth.
Pikmin toss or Pikmin
Yeah,
throw.
but little bit more damage on impact.
Purple
And
Pikmin.
just like the Pikmin though, the different colored pups do have different
There's
properties.
different color pups.
There are.
Jesus, Poochie, why do you have so many puppies, Poochie? Hang on a minute. What the fuck is wrong with you? I did not play Crafted World or Poochie and the Yoshi Woolly World. What the fuck? What? God, why did they do this?
This is basically Poochie's move in Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, yes.
Well,
And
now I
the
understand
Poochie
why you
pups
did
are
it.
around and
Because I
yeah.
thought you were just being evil again and having Poochie literally kick its children. Because you're just like, oh,
No,
he
there's a
tosses them, or
purpose.
maybe he hits them with their hind leg. It's like, he's kicking his puppies? This is monstrous.
It's a move. It is a canon move. So
All right. All right. Take your goddamn word for it, I guess. Jesus.
um
So,
and they
but
they are yarn, so they won't hurt too much.
okay, so they're yarny, so they're yarn pups. It's purple Pikmin, but they can latch on with
They can
a
latch on.
Yoshi up special reticle. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And there are different elements to each pup.
Actually, Yoshi's up special doesn't
Nothing
have a
too.
reticle. You just aim it without knowing where it's gonna go.
Yeah, that's true. I just kind of
I think
naturally think it does
they
with
should
Yoshi's
add the
Island.
reticle to the next Smash. I feel like come
I
on.
agree. I agree. Makes it a little more useful.
If they're gonna do things like that for like Sephiroth's up special, where there's a little arrow showing you where you're gonna go, give Yoshi his reticle.
Absolutely. But like a pup with cyan spots
Hmm.
has ice elements. One with
Okay.
yellow is electricity, red is fire, black is shadow, navy is aura, and pink gives them a chance to potentially make an opponent fall asleep when they bite them.
All right.
So it's a rarer one, as you can imagine. And just like the Pikmin, the pups can be KO'd or easily shaken off. And this is where the yarn part comes into play
Hmm.
because they could be physical. I just have them as yarn because it's been their only appearance so far.
Yeah, sure. Well,
Um,
back to their
so,
crafted world as well.
okay, but nonetheless, arts and crafts.
Yeah.
So, since the pups are made of yarn, they will unravel when they're KO'd.
Oh yeah, easily. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the macabre part is watching the
And
puppies unravel.
here's my question: how many pups can be on the field at a time? Because that's an important thing to know.
5.
Okay. Mimicking
So,
the Pikmin
same as
makes
the Pikmin,
sense.
I'm pretty sure. Yep. Yep.
Alrighty. So for mine, well, you went with Poochy Pups and something that Poochy does in that game. I went with something that Yoshi does, and that's spitting watermelons. We got watermelon spit. So with a tap of the special button, Poochy will just spit out a rapid, near instantaneous watermelon seed. It's just gonna go. Now one seed will only deal 0.5% of damage, and I'm not normally specific on these things, but I figured it's a fucking watermelon seed, and it's also pretty goddamn instant in its attack. So
Mhm.
there's that, and they're also like they can easily interrupt other opponents' moves. They have high priority on that. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
though, the range of the watermelon seeds has to kind of bounce out a little bit. It is pretty short, not like
Mhm.
melee range short, but yeah, short.
Mhm.
They do have the capability to flinch opponents, as I mentioned, for good interrupts. But if the special button is held down, because you can fire up to 20 watermelon seeds in rapid fire at a time.
Holy
Not
cow!
like not because
Yeah.
that's how many a watermelon seed gives you,
Yeah.
and or
Yeah.
at least maybe that's the half amount. I don't remember for sure. But it's rapid fire, so it's not like 20. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know that kind of what I mean by rapid
Mhm.
fire. And he's also ooh, much like Yoshi in Yoshi's Island, he's capable of running and jumping while spitting out these seeds, which
Mhm.
makes them dangerous. That said, the watermelon seeds do have a bit of a recharge on them, and it takes 7 seconds for Poochy to regain all 20 seeds. I was like, nothing
Very
else does
nice.
watermelon spit, and watermelon spit is just like such a good item in the Yoshi's Island games.
Mhm.
I was like, I gotta represent this somewhere, and it just made perfect sense to be on the
Absolutely.
standard.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I do like me some watermelon times, especially when Poochie's dishing it out. My side special. I was conflicted on this, but I decided to go with what was more rudimentary. Um, so Poochie again, like in Yoshi's Island, anywhere where he appears, he kind of just like runs and jumps around. You ride on him. At certain points, he can like inexplicably crush objects with his body. And he runs on spikes.
Yep.
So this captures that kind of element to Poochie, and it's called Poochie Charge.
Mm-hmm.
Poochie barrels
Not
forward
Poochie
at top
Dash,
speed.
the name of the mode from the Poochie and Yoshi's Yarn Adventures.
Oh yeah, it's called Poochie Dash, where Poochie barrels forward at top speed, and in the Woolly World and so on, you see that little kind of like energy wave in front of Poochie's head.
Yeah.
It's that. It is literally just that. You're headbutting opponents. You're running super fast. It's like what Wario should have had as one of his moves. Um, and it's like kind of like Wario Spike. Speaking of like weird momentum, because you can like kind of balance back on a foot and move in the opposite direction. Just lose a little bit of momentum at first. Um, and yeah, other than saying certain frames of this move have super armor, it's that simple. It's that.
All right. All
I
right.
was going to have it be a chomp rock and like him being on top of the chomp rock, which I think would have been funny, but it's actually kind of less useful. So I went Poochie Dash.
I had also considered a Chomp Rock for this move. and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it because it's like I couldn't. What I was picturing in my mind just wasn't working out for me. Because you know me, if I can't
Hmm.
picture how it looks, then I can't describe it, and I can't
Yeah,
say it with confidence.
that's why you are
Uh,
against Ridley in Brawl and Smash 4.
I went back and forth. Well, no, for Brawl, I was on Ridley's side. Then it was we were getting Smash 4, I was kind of, yeah, I don't know anymore. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with Ridley as he is. I just had like that pull
Mhm.
back and forth. Like, there's arguments both ways. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
No.
for your Poochy, your side special, you went with Poochy Dash, which is very
Hmm.
Wario Bike ish. I went for something that's very Yoshi's Egg Roll ish, which those moves are very similar on their own. It's a good sideways momentum special that they can turn around on. But I call mine Hound Inbound. I needed a name. I couldn't think of anything else. Like Hound something. I was
That's
like,
pretty good. Yeah.
Hound Inbound. It doesn't mean anything. I just thought it sounded fun. So for this,
Hmm.
Poochy will leap forward a short distance, curling up into a ball as he
What?
does so.
It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Lands
Yep.
back on
Yep.
stage, and he'll continue forwards with this momentum because it's much like how Yoshi will kind of like do that hop, and then he turns into a Zeg, and he just starts rolling forwards. It's very
Hmm.
much the same similar move. It's very similar to Egg Roll, and so he'll quickly move in the state. You can make quick turns to reverse the direction he's going, but if you do too many quick turns in a row, like say 3, then Pucci will fall out of the roll, and he'll be quote unquote punished because he'll be
Hmm.
kind of not stunned, but he'll be in that awkward animation where he has to get himself back up, and opponents can take advantage of that. You can also very easily roll off the edge. I've done it with Yoshi. Please do not repeat my mistakes. And if you do this, you're pretty much done with your chance to recover because you're in the rolling animation and you're kind of effed.
Hmm.
Uh, if an opponent gets hit by Poochy Ball, he's using this move, they'll be knocked back a fair bit because, you know, you're having the full force of dog just bashing into them. Hound and Bound! I love it. It's very generic, but I love it. Mainly for the name.
Both of our moves are very generic, so
It's true.
it works. Mine is Wario's bike, and yours is Yoshi's egg roll, and
Yep.
but it's Poochy.
Yep.
So,
It's. Yep.
um,
Sometimes when I'm
the
making a character and I don't know what to do with them, I look to other characters in their same series. Like, what do you do? I can do
mhm.
something with egg roll. Yeah, yeah, I can do this.
It makes sense.
Let's
It makes
go.
sense. Just the way that looks is pretty entertaining. So,
Yep. And it took me a while to figure out how to word it to make it make sense too.
hmm.
It went through some
So,
revisions.
well, that's it's pretty clever. I'll give you that. Speaking of clever, look at this lovely tag on Poochie's backside there. It has the Poochie clips on it,
Oh dear God, it does. They look really
and his
weird
butt says
in
Amiibo.
within that art style where you only see their big ass lips. I
I
think they could have
know.
done a better job with that. Marketing team,
I'm not gonna mention
not
what
your
that
best
looks like.
work. Yeah, it's kind of ooh
It's not something
jinx.
that they would think about all the way out in Japan. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, Hound and Bound into our up specials.
Yeah,
God,
mine is
I went
so
back and
weird.
forth on this one too. I'm looking forward to it. Mine is again. I mean, it's honestly pretty straightforward. It does have a cameo appearance from the stork. So the stork appears, and instead of like Mario and Luigi being carried around in little baby swaddles in the stork's um, feet,
Mm-hmm.
it's Poochie. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's covered in. Oh my God! Did you do the same thing?
No, not with the story, but I think we have the same functionality.
Nice. So they it flies upwards, and you can kind of be angled in a diagonal arc in either direction as you're flying up. And then once you get to its top peak, you can kind of move back and forth, similar to like how the condor moves in Ice Climber.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the stork can be attacked and it will drop Poochy if it's dealt enough damage, and then it can have that falling animation like it does at the start of Yoshi's Island. And it'll take a little bit to build back up. During this move, though, Poochy himself is swaddled and totally safe, snug inside of a baby blanket.
Okay, so we're a little bit more
Okay,
different than I
so
thought we were going to do. Because it sounds like you're saying Stork can carry Poochy up and it's pretty decent upwards mobility, but then at a certain point you can just go left and right like you're doing Peach's hover mechanic.
yeah.
Okay. Mine's similar idea, but I intentionally made this be a bad recovery move. Because Poochy already has, he's got the Hound and Bounce, so I figured, okay, he's got great horizontal mobility. Kind of like Yoshi has great air control, so he has a terrible up special. Poochy doesn't necessarily have like great jumping, although I guess he could have an extra jump potentially. But I call this Flutter Wings. So the winged cloud that Yoshi can throw eggs at and get items from. So a pair of fluttering wings being out of clouds will just attach themselves to Poochy's back. And when I say Poochy's back, I kind of mean like hold up Poochy here for me because I don't have a Poochy amiibo. Unfortunately, I kind of want. I kind of figure, maybe like mid back form. So not like where like the back of the neck, but like mid Poochy's actual back. That's where the wings will be. So when they're pulling Poochy up into the air, fluttering around, he's kind of like hunched. Like he'll have his front and his back just kind of like dangling down while the wings are just struggling to lift him up because they're made out of cloud and he's full dog. So there's that. It's relatively slow pulling him up. You can control the direction of it, but it's not too great effect. It's more of hey, just you need a little bit of a boost here. They're not strong enough to handle his weight for an extended amount of time. So after a few seconds, the cloud wings will dissipate and send Poochy falling into a state of free fall. That's actually how bad I made this recovery, because they actually sent him to free fall. Now I can change that part of it, but I was just like, I just didn't figure he would have a great recovery move, especially with some of the other things that I've thrown in.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I approached it where I did give him a pretty solid recovery, thinking that he might be kind of a weightier character. So I wasn't sure.
But part of my reasoning for that as well is that most characters that we do, we tend to give them good moves. But not every character has good moves, and sometimes that's by design. Especially with up specials. A lot of times, generally speaking, if a character has poor recovery with their up special, there's a good reason for it. They have something that accommodates them somewhere else. Either they have a great side special recovery, or they just have really good air game in general, like Jigglypuff. Holy shit. Or they're Little Mac.
Oh yeah. Yep. With that said, we could approach it the stork from a different way too. Have the stork swaddle Poochy and fly into the air, but then make it more similar to how Flutter Ring works, where you're seeing the stork struggle to carry Poochy upwards.
I think they should.
And then
stork weighs a lot more than the baby bros.
And then after a certain amount of time, flying upwards in the air, like you may take you a fair ways, but then the stork will eventually fail, and you will drop Poochy, and you will see the stork falling off in the background, like when Kamek attacks him. That's kind of comedic too. So, yeah, and the fluttering is comedy. So that's pretty entertaining. So, okay. Well, now we're gonna kind of maybe return to this and approach it to same move, different aesthetic. So interesting.
I have a few ideas that we'll get to when we get to that discussion.
Okay. Down specials.
Oh boy.
Think you're really gonna dig this one.
Oh no! Did we?
Poochy digs a hole in the ground.
Okay, we didn't.
Yep. The effect is exactly like Pitfall if you fall into it. You can use the move to. Yeah.
He digs a
you
pitfall
can use the
trap.
move to. Yeah. You can also use the move to dig up items from the ground, like a plant has an item inside of it. You can use that as an alternative to just grabbing it. And I have it as kind of like a minesweeper kind of thing, where Poochy's a dog. There's dogs that professionally sense bombs,
Mm-hmm.
and so Poochy can like offset like a gyroid hidden in the ground by standing a little bit in front of it before it would activate and taking it out and letting it do its thing.
So he could use
So
characters that have traps like uh, Isabel or
Mhm.
item traps, or like how I had the trapper being able to play spare traps. He could disarm traps essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. And you can have 2 dug holes active at a time. So the first hole that Poochy has dug disappears if he digs a third one.
Okay.
Yeah, and occasionally I had it. Occasionally Poochy will dig up an item. Like very rarely something will pop up.
Okay. I
Yep.
mean, in Yoshi's story, he can dig up items.
Yeah, that's true. The best Yoshi game according to no one but Suji.
Hear that, Suji? We're calling you out. You wrong.
I
The
like
best is
Yoshi. I like
Yoshi's
Yoshi's
Island.
story. I like Yoshi's story, but it's way too easy to be the best of anything.
So
But it's fun.
for,
I mean, look at Pachyderm.
I mean, Pachyderm is in Melee. It's a
Yep.
stage
What a
element and
guy.
trophy.
Mm-hmm.
So my down special. You mentioned digging, and that made me think. Oh God, did we do it again? But before I go into that, I need to say what my original down special was going to be. Before I decided I don't want to do that. Originally, I just straight up had Yoshi's ground pound, and it was just there
Oh
because
god.
I got to a point where I was like, I don't fucking know what to do. Sure, he can ground pound. Why the fuck not? And then I did a little bit more research, and I found out in Yoshi's New Island, there's a Yoshi transformation where Yoshi turns into a jackhammer. So this is Jackhammer Poochy. So for its attack,
Nice.
it's again, like a kind of like what I mentioned for Horn Dive for Spyro. Uh, it's a super dead jump, except it's a down special. So
Mhm.
Poochie will jump up in the air if he's on the ground, or if he's in the air, he'll just immediately start going down, and he'll transform the lower half of his body into a jackhammer, just like the Jackhammer Yoshi transformation. It's a very weird looking transformation. If you look at the picture, it's strange, but that's kind of what I'm doing here for Poochie. And he'll just fall straight down, back from stage, and he will actually jackhammer into it. So it's not just be like one hit, like Spyro's
Mhm.
Horn Dive, or again the Super Identity Jump, or other
Oh my god.
similar moves. He'll actually hit the stage a couple times, and if somebody is below him, he'll drill down into them, dealing multiple hits and hitting with his cut into attack. And if somebody is in his way as he's going down, they're getting dragged down with him, so they're kind of screwed in this regard. But with the last hit of it, they get knocked away back at the end, kind of like just like rocks that were dug up by the jackhammer with like debris.
Very nice. I I
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
a
the
weird
I
looking
saw the
transformation.
I saw that
This
the
official
video.
art is so weird looking because it's just like the top of Yoshi's head, but with like thick ass neck, and then just his nose and eyes, and then jackhammer below it. Like it's so weird looking. But I saw that I'm just
The
like, this is
3D.
essentially ground
Oh
pound, but a
yeah,
jackhammer. So fuck it, let's go.
the 3D model is so scary. Oh my
Oh
god.
god, is the 3D model worse? I haven't seen the 3D model. I'm just looking on the
Just
Mario wiki.
just look up
Time to Google
Jackhammer Yoshi
jackhammer.
on Google.
Oh god, the 3D model is worse. I am so sorry to anybody that chooses to Google this.
It's
What
pretty
the
gory.
fuck? Isn't I don't think people like Yoshi's New Island. I'm pretty sure I remember reading about this. They did not like this game. I
It had
don't
a
remember
really
why.
horrible soundtrack, and it was really extremely easy. It's like it's easy. It's way easier than Yoshi's Story. Just putting it on.
Wow.
So
You know what? Maybe that's why Suji
yeah.
thinks that Yoshi's Story is the best one, because it's actually a game that she can finish.
Mm-hmm.
Jokes, jokes, but Suji has someone that she hasn't finished most games that she plays, so.
So it goes. I mean,
Hasn't even
time
finished Three
gets
Houses
in the
yet,
way
and she's a
too.
huge Fire Emblem person, and she fucking loves Claude. It's like, listen,
Wow.
bitch, finish the fucking game. Stop playing League and play Fire Emblem. She's not watching this. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Unless I tell her that we talked
Um,
about her.
okay. So speaking of things that we really dig, whether it be with our paws or our body being transmutated into a jackhammer that looks
Yeah.
horrifying on Google, but uh my final smash is called Pup Rush.
Okay.
So yeah, we did kind of go into the Poochy pup world a little
You
little
really
hard.
did.
So yep, Poochy rushes forward with a just like a dozen Poochy pups in tow, kind of like the victory pose that I pitched. So they're all dashing forward together, kind of like the Poochy dash. And whoever's caught in that initial dash between Poochy and the pups are not taken into a CGI, but they are being stirred up in like this big cartoon cloud where you can see like pieces of Poochy like flying towards and into the opponents and the
Yep.
pups flying into the opponents, just like craziness, like the Prince of Sable almost as an assist trophy, um,
Yeah.
but on a larger scale and with a bunch of
Or the
dogs.
all-out attacks in Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just all out Looney Tunes kind of, but dog. Um,
Dog.
and when they're done, you do get this moment of the camera zooming in, and there's like a chaotic slow mo where you're seeing like the Poochie pups all in like different directions, just kind of like and Poochie leaning towards these opponents that have been trapped and attacked and like just assaulted, looking haggard. And one final attack is dished out during the slow mo, which is Poochie just fishing out his thick, long, wet tongue. And with that final lick, the camera pulls back, the cloud dissipates, they're sent flying.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So I did go the cinematic route with mine,
Cool.
and I call this Welcome Home.
Oh my.
So for this move, Poochie, to start off with, a chomp rock materializes in front of Poochie, and it just immediately just starts quickly rolling forwards until it hits the first opponent it runs into, and it will only pull in one for this final smash.
Mm-hmm.
We then transition to the cinematic, and we start off seeing the inside of the Mario Brothers house, in whatever design Sakurai chooses to base it off of. I'm just gonna say the Paper
The
Mario
one from
design,
the
but not paper because screw it, why not?
the Illumination movie.
Yeah, that's probably what the reality would be. No, granted, we don't know what the music's gonna be like. We just recently found out the cast, and we're just like, man.
I forgot to mention that Pucci is voiced by Chris Pratt.
I was gonna say Christopher
That's
Walken.
pretty interesting.
Anyways, so we see the inside of the Mario Brothers house, and we don't see a whole lot. We really just see from some unknown downwards perspective looking up towards their front door. And then that front door was seen to be open and it revealed the character that was hit by the final smash, whether that's Rob or Joker or Banjo Kazooie, whoever. And then the camera will spin around to show who that opponent sees, and they see three Poochies on the staring down at them from below. They see normal Poochie, or then they see Yarn Poochie, and they see Crafted Poochie. And if alternate costumes determine that Poochie can be Yarn or Crafted, then whichever kind of Poochie you're playing as, that Poochie will have your colorings for that Poochie in the final smash. But then at that point, now the Poochies see this person coming home, or at least like a visitor opening the door. They just excitedly all start running towards the opponent and they leap up at them at once. They knock them on the ground, whoever they may be, and just like start pawing and licking at them because they're excited. Dogs love when people come to the door. They love it. They go nuts. And they're going nuts. And just as the cinematic ends, the opponent gets sent flying away with all this love and attention that they're getting. It doesn't make sense, but I don't care. It's what a dog does. And something I will mention, I am open to the idea of this changing it to having it be Poochie in whatever Poochie you're playing as, instead of having three different Poochies, but Poochie and the pups. And they are all just
Yeah.
like jumping and loving on whoever this is. And they can't handle this much dog love. They can't do it. They don't have the stamina. Welcome
Oh
home.
man,
I told you I went full dog, except for
that
Jackie or
was great.
Poochy, or I went weird.
And the part where he spit watermelon
I
seeds.
mean, but that's at least from the games. Poochy doesn't
Yeah,
turn into a
it is.
jackhammer.
Yeah, it is.
Granted, Poochy doesn't spit
No,
watermelon,
but
but it works.
that was the best thing that I think I've ever heard on this podcast.
I don't think
That
that's
was
true, but I'll
great.
take it.
It's up there.
I,
It's
I
up
believe
there.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. Uh
Just wait till you find out
anyway.
about the extra skill and what it's called.
Oh god.
Mainly what it's called.
Yeah, first is mine. And this will make sense, right? My extra skill is Pup Patrol.
Well, you're so close to making it have a terrible name. So thank you for that.
It was intentional.
I bet.
But anyway, it's nothing that crazy. It's just that Poochy wags his tail, and then like another Poochy pup just comes like flailing from the ether in the foreground to follow behind him. So up to 5 Poochy pups can accompany him at a time. This is the move that summons the Poochy pup. There you go.
Okay. So it's Olimar's Pikmin pull, or whatever the hell they call that.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Because I imagine like Olimar's Pikmin pole would probably be an extra skill. That's what.
If we were actually, when I redesigned Olimar before Ultimate came out, I didn't do that. I kept him how he was, and I gave him, I think, extra spicy spray, or whatever they call that. And then I gave him the space spray, and I gave Alf the bitter spray. That's how I set them up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that works too.
For me, so what's the name that the internet will call dogs?
Canine.
Okay, what's the name that internet millennials call dogs?
Dog. DAWG. Pupper.
Thank you, Pupper. That's what I was going for, actually. So I was just like, Pupper. What can I do with the word pup? What's a fun name here? Pupper Sniffer. This movie is called Pupper Sniffer. You remember when I mentioned? Oh yeah, you can dig up items in the Yoshi's story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason I know this trivia, or not trivia, but there's a reason I know this, because that's what Pupper Sniffer is. And when you were talking about, oh yeah, my down special, he can sometimes dig up items. It's like, ooh, about that. We gonna get there. So for this move, first of all, it can only be used when Poochy is on the ground. If it's in the air, nothing happens. When you're using it, Poochy will put his nose to the ground, and he's just gonna start sniffing. At this point, there will be a meter above Poochy's head. That will have 3 glowing points on it at the third, 2/3, and at the end of it. Filling up this meter is relatively slow, and it can only be filled by holding on the extra skill. So you can't just be attacked or do attacks to do this, and it's not going to give you a super move anyways. This meter works a little bit differently, as you can probably already figure out. Once Poochy reaches a third of the bar, it will start to give a slight glow, and this glow will intensify as each segment is increased. After the first third of this bar is filled, the player can then tap the extra skill input instead of just holding it down, and Poochy will start to dig at the ground quickly and will consume all meter that has been charged up, not just whatever that third portion is. This will cause Poochy to unearth an item. The rarity of the item is determined by how full the meter was when it was used. So when you only have like the first third of it pulled up, you might pull up a lower tier item like a Mr. Saturn. When you go through 2/3, you might pull up a medium tier item like the Steel Diver. If you go all the way, you could be looking at something like an Ore Club. Now, some items are not going to be in there, like the Superstar is not going to be there. You're going to get Dragoon parts. There are some things that are going like the things that you shouldn't just be able to get for free. But it's workable for even people who turn off items. Poochie's like, no, I dog, I dig, I find. And that's what he does in Yoshi's story. So I'm like, yeah, I can make this work.
Very nice. Very nice. I do enjoy a good it's like this.
You should probably never say
Oh,
that you enjoy a
Poochy,
good sniff.
you
That's
found
just a
a
sentence that you
Poochy
should
found
never
a.
utter.
Oh, okay. I'll
It's
save it for.
kind of weird.
No. Of cabbage, of course. So
Now we got to pick our moves.
that was pretty entertaining going through that, and now unfortunately you have to chop off half of them.
I
So
think I think we have an easy starting point. Actually, I think we have two easy starting points, but we'll start the side special first between your Poochy Dash and my Hound and Bound, because these are both
mm-hmm.
very similar ideas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, the side special and the up special, I would assume are very similar.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So depends on what you want to take from it. Poochie Dash is taken from the games. It works as it does in the games. Functionally, it's similar to Wario's bike with some differences.
Yeah.
Pound and Bound has a better name. Point one. And just sees Poochie kind of being more like his buddy Yoshi, where
He bounds forward, and he's a
he
hound.
bounced forward in a circular motion, similar to. So just imagine.
Yep.
It's pretty entertaining.
Yep.
It's pretty entertaining. Functionally, they both kind of cover the same ground.
You could also kind of compare it to Sonic's side special in a way, because he kind of does a jump and gets into a spin ball and he dashes back and forth.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean, Hound and Bound to, yeah, I mean, I get either which way. I won't say any more before you do. What do you think?
Personally, I like comparing Yoshi with Poochie with this, because there are some characters that I just feel like having those kinds of callbacks are fun. I don't think we need to do it quite like the space animals do, where they just do the same things. But I like the idea of Poochie being similar to Yoshi in some ways, which is why I did Hound and Bound, which is why I did Watermelon Spit, although that's really more point from Yoshi's on than how Yoshi is in Smash. It's why I have a third idea for the up special as well that we'll get into when we get there. But Poochie Dash, the only thing is, like, it pulls straight from the games, but we have a lot of we've done a lot of, or at least I don't know if we've chosen moves, but we've discussed a lot of moves that are Wario bike, but not Wario, which is part of why I lean more towards Hound and Bound in this scenario. And then there's a lot of
Right,
characters
right.
that will do something like, oh, it's like Wario bike, or oh, it's like Quick Draw, because these are very easy things that we can do something similar to,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
we've discussed them a fair bit with other characters.
I concur. Yeah, just figured to let the discourse run where it lie, but I don't think that we were gonna get out of this without letting Hound and Bound be the pick. Um, you for those reasons, me just because it looks funny.
It does.
So, so I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up special.
Now
then.
what? Yep.
So I have my Flutter Wings, which are intentionally a not good up special. You have the
Mm-hmm.
Stork, which I forget what you called it.
It's just called Stork.
Oh, all right, Stork it is.
Yeah.
Not. I don't mean Stork it is, and you know what I mean. That's
Mm-hmm.
meant to be an actually good recovery, and then I have two other thoughts on this as well. The first thought I'll have is kind of like a merger of the two, where it acts from like Flutter Wings, where but it'd be Stork carrying Poochie. He's struggling. He's not going to have like the whole hovering mechanic, but he
Mm-hmm.
can lift Poochie up a fair bit. You have some controllability of it, but Poochie he's a dog. Stork's going to have a
Mm-hmm.
harder time carrying that, so not going to bring him up too high in the air. The other thought I had was, so Yoshi's up special is the egg throw, and your
Mm-hmm.
standard special is, I forget what you called it, pup toss, pup kick,
Yep.
child abuse is pretty much what it sounded like to me. And I was like, that would be another good way to. That could be another parallel to how Yoshi plays. Have that be the up
Mm-hmm.
special, where Poochie is throwing the Poochie pups. But then I also kind of wonder, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, if you do that, if you have Hound and Bound, and if for the down special, if we went with Jackhammer Poochy, that's a lot that is Yoshi but Poochy. So I wasn't really sure, but I
Hmm.
wanted to throw that out there. We also don't know what we're even going to do for down special. So
Yeah, precisely. No, it's a good idea though. Um, to go Pup Toss as the up special, or either Stork as Flutter Wing, or just Flutter Wing as well.
mm,
So you have three solid moves forward. Of that, uh, I'm thinking, like, because your standard is the watermelon seed, which I think is a great callback to Yoshi's Island as well.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm almost thinking, what if we did Pup Toss as an up special, and then did the watermelon seed as a standard? Um, that way you're getting a lot of forward movement in terms of projectiles,
Yeah,
which will make up for his poor recovery
yeah.
between the two moves.
And he has Hound and Bound,
Um,
which is a great side recovery.
yeah, and Pup Toss is more functionally relevant than a Stork or Flutter Wing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
so
would
that
also
might
probably
be,
say with
yeah.
Pup Toss, you don't necessarily have to bring out pups for it. You can just
Hmm.
throw a pup and it just randomizes which color it is. You don't necessarily have to
I
make
agree.
sure that you have some out like Olimar has to.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Um, that's kind of how I'm feeling.
I'm good with that.
Okay. And there you go. It's two pups with one Poochy.
And Flutter Wings was one of the ones I was kind of weak on because I was like, I don't know what to fucking do.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's a fun look. It's pretty entertaining, kind of Looney Tunes, but
yeah,
um, yeah. But you do get that in quite a bit of your other moves too, so it's not too much of a
yeah.
sacrifice. Yeah, I'm cool with
Uh,
that.
all right. So we've got Hound and Bound, we've got Watermelon Spit, and we got the Pup Toss, which I'll need to. Is Pup Toss the actual name for that, or was there a different name?
It could be, yeah. I think Pup Toss is the official name, but I mean we can call it something else like Pup or Punt. Just let it.
Maybe, as much as I loved how that sounds, maybe not Pup or Punt. I just, that's got some real kick the baby energy, and I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, yeah, sure, I'd like to have Baby Mario be playable in Smash, but I don't know about somebody kicking their own child as a projectile. I just, mm, mm, don't know about
Yeah, and
that.
I think toss is a better verb than throw in this instant too, for the
Okay,
same reason.
okay,
For the same reason. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Down special then. For down specials, we have yours where he can essentially disarm traps and potentially dig up items, whereas mine was Jack Marapucci. Main thing I would want to point out with yours is that if we did yours and if we did my extra skill, I think we need to remove the digging up items from the down special if we were to do those two
Yeah.
in combo,
I
considering
agree.
that's
I agree.
what the extra skill is there.
Yeah. Just more fleshed out,
Yeah,
essentially.
a whole
And
mechanic.
I do think, yeah. And I do think that we're going with your extra skill because again, mine was just contingent on
The
having these
pups.
pup based moves, and we don't have that now or
Yeah.
don't need it. So I think your extra skill, Pupper Sniffer for name alone, is it. So we're dealing with the down special now. So there's Dig,
Mm-hmm.
and I like this move. I made it very. I just did my best to make it very useful. Um, and I think it does that. It has that interest. You can trap opponents. You can also deactivate traps
Yeah.
from opponents.
Now, here's something I
So
have a
that's
question for
yeah,
you on. Let's say
yeah.
Pucci is next to a trap and he's using this move. He disarms the trap, but does he also dig his own trap, or is this just disarming in this one motion? Because I can see both arguments for that. It's like, yeah, you can crit the trap in one go and disarm the trap, but also, what if you already have two traps out and you're just like, I see their trap, I want to get rid of a trap, but I don't want to move the traps where I have them. So there's
Mhm.
arguments either way here.
I think for the sake of balancing, it would probably remove one of his other holes, and he'd probably dig one under it.
Okay. Fair enough. So he
Yeah,
just replaces their trap essentially.
yeah.
Okay.
So now it's the question is like, do we want two animations where he's digging something up? Because that's pretty. I think that's the one
That is something I was
dig
wondering.
against dig at this point.
I also like. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of things that I'm thinking about with this digging one. It's like, okay, so this works on buried gyroids. Does it work on Snake's remote bomb or whatever the fuck it's called? Does it work his C4 attack? Does it work on? Yeah, actually, Snake has a fucking down special trap as well. It's like, so would it work on that? Would it work on gooey bombs? Would it work on a bomb that's about to explode right there? What are the limits to this move?
My limits that I was thinking of were explicitly things that were hidden underground.
Okay, so
So
explicitly
not
underground things. So okay, in that
yes,
case,
so
then it
not
wouldn't work on something like the Trapper's bear traps, because those are seen on
yeah,
top of the platform.
yeah. So I was thinking not C4, but the mine that Snake digs into the ground. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think that
Yeah.
and Isabel's gyroid, I think those are the only traps that we currently have outside of the pitfall item in Smash, like
hmm
cannon.
Yeah. 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 There's that. Yeah, and you can deactivate other pitfalls too. I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, other Poochy
Um.
traps for sure.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And imagine just like that
So yeah.
distinctive difference is probably like a tiny mound of dirt wherever they are.
Mhm. Right. Right. So that was the idea behind the move. Is functionally the initial idea is to lay your own traps. There's just a little dash of the other stuff too. Um, I don't know. It's an issue. I really like the function of this move,
Hmm.
but I also recognize that the jackhammer Poochy, as terrifying as that'll be, is more unique in terms of the scope of this character. Although again, you have the downfall of then you have three moves reminiscent of Yoshi.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy cow, these are apples and oranges, and both of them have a couple of bruises on them. So it's
I
it's our
mean,
weaker it's our weaker move.
yeah. The
Yeah.
other idea that we would have to kind of mitigate that would be to move
Mm-hmm.
the Pup Toss to the extra skill, killing off Pepper Sniffer, putting Stork Flutter or whatever the fuck it would call it back on the up, and then you could have Jackhammer Poochie on the down. And then you still have three moves, but the up special one gets turned into the extra, but then Pepper Sniffer is gone. Yeah, yeah, I know it's rough. It's
Yeah.
rough.
This is like Gengar all over again.
You're not
Um.
wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where
Personally,
these
I
moves all
think
have a legitimate stake, but yeah. Sorry.
personally I think in cases like this, simplicity is best. Don't
Mm-hmm.
overcomplicate things. If the move works best, then you go with that move regardless of the similarities. Because again, we have characters like this in Smash already that heavily pull from another. Dr. Mario. I mean, granted, they're usually clones, and Poochy would not be a semi-clone even at all. I mean, he's got some move similarity, but I don't think it's.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another way I can compare this actually. Villager and Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket. They both have Pocket. They both have an up special with balloons. They
Mm-hmm.
both have a down special. No, they don't. They both have a special with a gyroid. And then their sides and downs are different between them. But they have a whole lot of there that's clearly built off of each other. And if I was to make a Tom Nook moveset right now, I would probably have Pocket. I would have something to do with the balloon recovery, and I'd have something with a gyroid. What? I don't know. But I would probably go down that route because they're clearly building an idea, a theme with the Animal Crossing
Mm-hmm.
characters. And who's to say we can't say that this just works the same out with Yoshi and Poochy? Now, further, if we
Yeah.
did more Yoshi's Island characters, I don't think they would follow this same vein. Like, I don't think we'd have Kamek using an egg roll type move or uh, ground pound. But I
Kamek could
think for
actually
Yoshi and Poochy, I
naturally,
think
yeah.
it would work.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are best buddies since Mario was his ex-best friend and then shoved him down a
Let's be
hole.
real. Yeah, Mario has been sacrificing Yoshi since the 90s. Yoshi owes no
Mm-hmm.
allegiance to that plumber. None.
Nope.
There's a reason why they didn't
Nope.
reveal Yoshi in the Mario movie. Because Yoshi's like, after all the abuse you've given me? Nuh-uh. Screw you. Go
Yep.
have fun with the
Yep.
minions on your
Yep.
own.
Wonder who he would be voiced by if he were in the movie. Probably something terrible.
Morgan Freeman.
Danny DeVito.
No, Danny
Oh, there
DeVito's
you go.
Wario.
Oh,
You have not been paying attention to
yeah.
the internet, apparently.
Oh, yes.
Everybody is
I thought Wario
that's
was
the
Adam
one
Sandler.
things that people are agreeing on. Is like, well, partially probably as a joke. They're just like, yeah, Danny DeVito Wario. It's like, all right, I've only ever seen him as the Penguin in the Batman movie from years ago. It's like I don't,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know Danny DeVito.
Yep. You will in our next Smashtopia. So,
Considering what the next
yeah, it's
Smashtopia
whatever.
is,
I mean,
that's kind of weirding me out.
It's Danny DeVito. I like the function of dig. I think I might explore that with another character in the future. That might be my new obsession, to have a deactivation type character.
A
So,
trap,
the
an anti-trap character would work. I think I would expand it to things that are like not just like the ground traps for an idea. But I don't know who that character would be that it would work best on. Because there's a lot of options.
There are.
A thief-based character, I feel like, would be a great choice for that. But but which thief?
Exactly. I mean, even if you're just like, oh yeah, just make like a Fire Emblem thief. There's like 20 of them.
So. I would say Soth, because I'm biased towards Soth.
He's arguably one of the more important ones, considering he's basically a lord, so that makes sense.
Considering he marries a lord.
Yep. That works. He's main character status. Good point. For some reason, I was going to like FE7 for some reason. I was like, Matthew.
I was going to say Matthew. It's like, I mean, was it Jafar? I thought it was Jafar. Either way, he would also be. He'd probably be my second pick after Soth.
Basically, because he's cool. You know. Yeah. He's pretty neat. Okay. All the same.
All right.
There's a moveset.
No.
Yeah.
Final Smash.
Yep. Fuck. Well, that's easy.
Is it?
It's one of these episodes where like 3/4 of the character is coincidentally your stuff, but I mean, it's your thing. I mean, come the fuck on. Come on.
I don't intentionally do that. I just need to point this out. I don't intentionally try and force it just to be my stuff. It just happens a lot. But so if I'm interpreting,
Poochy's not walking out of here with courtesans.
I lost that one. I did lose that one. I feel like if Mike wasn't in that episode, I might have won that battle, though. I think I would have won that. So for Final Smash, are you saying "Welcome Home" if I'm interpreting you correctly?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure since it was a cinematic, and you made a point of making yours not be a cinematic. I did.
Yeah, and I did that to be. Yeah, sorry.
Like, I didn't know the Poochy pups existed, so I would be open if you wanted to altering it to, instead of having it be 3 different Poochies, it's Poochy and the Poochy pups, and they all just look like whatever your player Poochy is. So if you're playing as a yarn Poochy with purple spots, I don't fucking know, then all the Poochy pups will be yarn Poochies with purple spots.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. I think they're gonna probably push the pups a little.
Maybe the Poochy pups shouldn't be the same color, but they follow your style between normal, yarn, and crafted, but have their own their normal colors. Actually, I think that looks better.
I'm cool with that. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, cool. So we got that. Then we've almost wrapped up. Special abilities, unique traits. What I had written down is that Poochy can crawl. And then I'm also kind of floating the idea of him having an extra midair jump, but just the one.
Yeah, I had Poochy can crawl and Poochy can swim. An extra midair jump, yeah, absolutely.
Swimming isn't really. I see what you just mean by swim, that like he can last longer in the water before he just drowns. Because swimming isn't really a thing that characters do.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next
swim
up,
in midair like Waluigi.
That's still weird to me. Alternate color schemes. Then I specifically did not write down a lot of things because I had an idea, but I wanted to see what you did first. I I
Hmm.
I I mentioned that we could have different Poochies between like having a few different colors for regular Poochie, a few different yarns, and then a few different crafteds. But the main thing that I wanted to point out was just having Poochie be stuff of different dog breeds. And the only one I
Hmm.
wrote down for sure is you must have a Corgi. That's the only. I will not budge on this. Corgi Poochie.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I just again just they really kind of develop Poochie's character much more with the last couple games. You know, were woolly and crafted.
Yeah,
So I just kind of went with color schemes for Poochie from those games where they're pretty standard, like Poochie with red spots, Poochie with blue spots, Poochie with green spots, pink spots, gray spots, a
just
gold
straight up
Poochie, a black
different
Poochie.
colors.
Yeah. And then like at the end I had yarn Poochie, but we can do it where you have Poochie and then like two Poochie alts. Yarn Poochie and two Yarn Poochie alts, crafted Poochie and two, so we
Yeah.
could go that route.
And the only thing
I'm
against like going with dog breeds is that Duck Hunt does that already. But there's a lot more dog breeds that Duck Hunt doesn't cover,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and it would not
There's
be hard to
dozens,
find
if
them.
not more.
And you can still have some be doubled
Absolutely.
up. Like I think even though Duck Hunt already does Dalmatian, fuck it, we could have Dalmatian Poochie.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's such an ubiquitous breed. I mean, the black spots on Poochie, and Poochie's already a spotted dog,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I'd probably
And then you
also
can
look
do
at
like
things
a,
like Black Lab. Um,
uh,
so, some things you really can't do, like you can't really do Chihuahua or Great
mhm.
Dane or
Yeah,
the big
yeah,
floofers that are out there.
yeah.
But
Great Dane
Beagle,
is just Poochie with a super mushroom. Beagle, yeah, yeah. Beagle can work. Basically, any spotted creature, I don't know, like a
cow,
golden retriever if you wanted an all gold Poochie,
yeah.
an owl.
I mean, you said any
What?
spotted creature, so I was just like, so a
Oh yeah,
cow?
yeah.
If that's a
Basically, but
spotted
we'd call it
creature,
Dalmatian.
well,
Just
they
put
have
some
thicker
horns on
spots
Poochie.
than
It would kind of work.
Halloween Poochie coming to Mario Kart Tour. He's dressed as a cow.
That would get me back into Mario Kart Tour.
Nothing will. I didn't even start. It was
Not for
like, now
long.
this looks bad. No,
It is. I mean, there's no way around it. It's not good. You just tap something and you're done,
I'll wait
and you
till
pay a lot of money.
Chocobo GP.
That looks good.
It looks so good.
Uh,
All right, so we got our
so
moveset.
yeah.
We've got the idea for the alternate colors. That's something I'm going to have to be working on outside the podcast, but you'll be able to see it up on the Smashtopia wiki once it's there and ready. The last thing we discuss here for Pucci is home stage. For me, I didn't come up with anything new for this. I was just like, you know what? We've already got Yoshi's Island, a few different Yoshi's Island stages, and the one from Brawl is just perfect. So I decided, yeah, maybe
Hmm.
that can be Poochie's home stage. But did you have anything beyond that? What you
Yeah.
got?
Poochie ain't stupid. Side-scrolling stage in the lava mountains of Yoshi's Island, where you are aboard a large Poochie, riding over spikes and avoiding obstacles and enemies as you go.
Wow, it's the extra level for World 1.
Yep.
Okay. So you're saying this is a scrolling stage?
Yeah, I would feel terrible playing on it, but it's an idea. it's it's a. I never forgot it because of the name.
All right.
It's pretty.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I am not going to tell you no because I just picked something that already exists. I'm just not familiar with the level enough, so I can't really
Yeah.
picture anything. Are you saying that you would be writing on Poochie during this level, or are you just like going through the level in the scroll? And it's basically just the level itself, more or less ported.
I was thinking about you riding on a Poochie, like a pixelated Yoshi's Island style 2D Poochie.
Hmm.
Make it like totally ripped from the game, like Mute City on 3DS.
The only thing that's weird to me is you could be playing as Poochie riding on Poochie.
Yeah, that's true.
Also,
In that
Poochie's
case,
only in
just make it.
3 levels in Yoshi's Island. What the fuck?
That's crazy.
The 1 dash extra Poochy, so with 2-1 visit Koopa and Paracoopa, and 3-2 jungle rhythm. And then he's gone from the rest of the game.
Holy cow.
That's
That's
weird.
crazy to me. Yeah. Made such an impression. Um, in that case, make it another platform then. Doesn't necessarily have to be Poochie. It's more so the level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, yeah. Tell you what, I'll figure out how to write it down, and
All
then
right.
maybe in 20 years we'll have it on the site.
But do you have a specific name for it besides the level, or is this the level's name what you want to name the stage?
Uh, Poochie ain't stupid.
All right, Poochy ain't stupid. That's
Yep.
the stage, the home stage of Poochy. With that, we have our character. I'll be getting that up on the Smashtopia wiki as quick as I can. Luckily, most of the work is already done because I
Yep.
pre-type things when I can. Sometimes I don't, but
Yep.
I usually try to.
I pre-typed everything too. You want me to send it to you as a souvenir?
Always, always fucking do that. It makes my job almost done in an instant. I just have to sometimes reword some things. But dear
Yeah.
God, yes.
I'm gonna
So
reword my Pup Toss before I send it your
yeah,
way.
yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. So that brings us to next episode. We'll be doing our first Smash Dash season. This one's going to be a special one because you see, for like the last year and a half, 2 years, John and I have been playing our own fast and loose kind of Smash Dash series between the two of ourselves. Where we just like,
Oh,
hey,
buddy.
this character, and then we debate it, and we just quickly put something through. And if we ever tie, we just message somebody like, hey, break this tie for us real quick. And we finally got to the end of it, about 3/4 of the last season through. We decided we would make the final two characters of each bracket, because we had a Nintendo bracket and a third party bracket. We would just make that be the first Smasher Dash. So these are going to be characters that we are both passionate about. So discussion should be interesting. I high odds that there's going to be at least one tie. Who knows? Could be both
Hmm.
or could be none. We'll find out. But these are characters that the two of us are both very interested in seeing in Smash proper. I'll leave you with that tease, and you can discover what they are going to be in that episode. Until then, though,
Woohoo!
we're out. See you all next time.
Stay fresh.